Okay, now let's start with the simplest thing, which is categories. As you see in this image that we have admin panel app and we have add product and categories, form and a table. So first of all, we will start with the easiest, which is category. And we are going to show you how to add, delete and update category. So we have finished the sidebar and now I am going to build the list of categories when I click on categories navigation. So we will use PrimeNG to have this button and this table, and slowly we will build it to link it with the backend and also add some more features to the table. Okay, so as we saw previously, we have created this sidebar and we have the content here. So what we are going to do to have some component for categories list, and we are going to place, for example, a categories title and also the table with some buttons for new and also deleting the categories. So as you see here in the app module, we have a dashboard which is referring exactly to the dashboard component, so we need also another component for referring to the categories list. So first of all, we need to create a component. I go here to the NX, generate as we used always, and I go component, and then I will give name to this component will be categories, and I will put it inside a folder. I will tell you why, because we have a folder structure for pages, and inside these pages we have categories, products, orders, and every page or every category will have a table and a form for editing it. So I will have for category table and a form. So I will create categories table, or we can call it list, and the project name will be admin, and then I don't want any styling, so you can check out the include inline style, so you don't have to add a styling because we add everything in the public style. And also I want to skip also the tests, so I don't need test for now. So we will generate two files under this path. So let's run it and let's check if everything is fine. Categories and also categories and categories. Okay, perfect. So let's run it. And now we go to the folder structure. We see that categories is created, and also in the app module it was added already. So what we need to add another path. So we have here and we call it categories, and for these categories it will refer to categories list component. So when I go to categories, because I have the route is assigned here, as you remember, to categories, when I click here, I will see that categories list is working fine. So here, if we delete this, for example, make something, for example, remove this, you see that everything is getting updated immediately. Of course, I am running the project already. Okay, now, so let's code some HTML. So first of all, I will have a div. I will give it a name admin page, and this class will be for this div. And inside this div, I like to use always from PrimeNG the cards. And as you see here in this list, I have here a card. So we can search for card, and here this card will have like this shadowed style, or you can add also more stuff. So for using any library, we have documentation. I will import this module. Let's go to app module, and of course here in the app module you have here freedom to divide the modules, so you can make more modules to hold the components. But in the application of the admin, I want to show it as a beginner, so we are going to make here beginner things, and then we will move in ngShop to more advanced topics. So the admin application will be like more beginner. We have many static things. We don't have to divide modules. We don't have very perfect structure. So I import this card module here, and then I will import it exactly like in these modules. So here we go here to the end. I import the cart module. So we save it, and then we go to what we have to do here. So we can say that we have a P card. I go here to the categories list, and I go to the application, and inside the admin page I use this P card. Nice, we have now everything working. I just want to tell you that I added here a class, just to not have so much time. I added here under the admin, if you remember this, we wrote all of the CSS. We have an admin and I added here a page which is padding 15. So admin page will have a padding 15 because if I remove it, you will see that we have issue here that the shadow or the card is sticking on the sidebar. So let's give it some padding and it will have this nice view. Okay, as you remember in the content we have like some title and for example subtitle. So let's use and see what are the properties of this card. We see that it has a header and also we can have a subheader and some specific style if you want to style it in different way. So we have first here a header. I will call it for example categories. So we are here in categories and subheader will be for example a list of all categories. So we save it, go to the application. Nice, we have here the header and the subheader styled and ready. You don't have to do any styling here. So inside this card we are going to have our content. So first I need to create a grid. So in this grid, first row we will hold some buttons like new, update, delete, etc. So I will use also another component from PrimeNG which is called toolbar. But first I want to create a grid. So I call it pgrid as we saw previously. So we have a grid and we can use it from PrimeNG. We install it and we talked about it before. So first I have a pgrid and inside this pgrid, if I go and show it to you, we have a grid system and this grid system is so good so you can align your application to be responsive. So we see here a lot of options to create our grid. So we can create a pgrid and the columns, and if you want to specify a mobile view or small view as we saw previously, that you can add all of these classes. So we will start a simple, so I will use div.p call 12 and inside this I am going to add the toolbar which I told you about. So the toolbar is already located also in PrimeNG, so we can here search for what is called toolbar, and here in this toolbar you will see like this nice toolbar, so you can add your components inside it. Again, we need to import the module. I go here to the app module, the same thing as we did with the card. So let's separate them. We can put like for example the UI module in separated group, and here toolbar module, I add it again here and save. So we see that we have the toolbar already, and we see an example which is this one. It has some buttons, p toolbar, and inside this p toolbar I need to specify some div like for grouping, like toolbar group left, toolbar group right, as we see here. So we need to have only on the left. So I will have div.p toolbar group left, and inside I want to place a button, but this button has a type called p button. So we need also to go to p button and import also that module. So if I want to do that, we need to copy this one, and we see that we are getting error because we are not importing the module for that p button. So we need to go again in PrimeNG, search for button, and we will see that we have a buttons here. We need as well to go to the documentation and import the button module. So I go here again to app module, and we have also the button module. But as we see here that we have everything inside this imports of add module. For example, as organization of the code, I can say const UX module. I can call those UX module, and inside it as an array I will put all of these modules. So here we have toolbar, and we have as well the button module, and in the imports of the component or in the module app module I can create a copy of this array and call it UX module, and in the import. So whenever I want to import a module, I just put it here in this array. So let's save this part and we back to our admin page. And if you get some error about importing the button module, like I want to show you this error, something like this error, you need then to install some library which is called Angular CDK. So you just need to import or install this library which is called npm angular/cdk save, and you just install it, and then your application will work fine. This is because that PrimeNG is using this CDK library. And after installing this library, you need to restart your application. Remember that. So if you get this error, just install that library and then restart the application again, and it will work perfectly after importing the button module. So back to our categories list. Now the button is imported. Let's save it. And we will see that the button is here. So let's color it with different color. We see that we have a lot of options. One of those options that we can color it like this. So we have example like success. So we can give it only a class. We call it a success. So here, as you see, that he gave a class called pButton success. So back out to PrimeNG and we go back to our toolbar. And in the toolbar that we will see that something like green, we need a green button. So as we see here that he used it in the upload, so he just have this style input and we copy it here and we will see, wow, it's got green. So now we will move to the next part, which is using or creating the table. For the table, I am going to use also component from PrimeNG, which is called a table. And in this table, we have a documentation, and you see that we have also a lot of features like filtering, also sorting, and also many other things. So first of all, to see the documentation, we need to install CDK, but we talked about that previously, that just to avoid some errors which can appear for you. And then we need to import the table module as every module we are going to use. So here I will say that go to app module. Let's make it a little bit bigger, make this smaller, and then here in the app module I want to import the table module, and in the UX I want to add this table module, and then we need to have something like example. So in this example, let's start very basic. So I am going to use this basic table. As you see here, it's very simple without any feature. So first of all, we will do the same of this coding. So let's go there and we can, for example, copy this part and we go to our categories list. We need just to add another grid, div.pgrid, and inside this div we need also another p:12, and inside it I am going to place this table. So as we see, we have p table and inside it some properties which we are going to talk about. So here we have this table and we see that it's using some array called products. So first of all, we need to have the value is categories. So I want to list a categories here. And as you remember, in the back end, we have ID and we have a name and we have icon for the category. So as we see that we have the header, which is the header of this table, and then we have the data under it, and this data comes from the category itself. So let category, so we can change everything to category, and here we have again category, and here we have ID and then a name and then icon, and we don't need this part. So we copy all of this and we need this categories array. For now, I am going to have it as a hard-coded because we are not having the service yet. So first, let's make the categories table works, and then we will see how we can import data from the backend to the table. So categories, I go to the component TypeScript here, and here I am going to add array of categories. So I will define a variable, I will call it categories, and this categories will be array of multiple objects. So first I will have ID 1, name will be, for example, category 1, and icon. So remember, you have here the keys, and those keys must match here. So we have ID, name, icon. So we save that, we go to our table, we will see that we have everything. But wait, we have here a quantity, so we have extra column here. So we need to remove it, and we save, and we will see that we have the table placed very smoothly. But as you see here, it doesn't have like some borders, which I don't like, so we can search for something called grid lines. So when you go to grid lines, we will see that it's really perfectly nice. So we can go here and check why it has it, because it has some class called style class p data table grid lines. So for the table itself, we need to add this class. So I go here and I add this class. So then we will have the grid table and nice lining. So that's it. We have now the table, and we are going to talk in the next lecture how to grab data and create service to fill the table from the data from the backend.